what this is about is making sure that we're sending a really clear message to our school boards. We want more academic achievement. We want them ruthlessly focused on that as their number one job, and we don't want any distractions from that. Well, the key focus of teachers and teacher unions should be on getting our kids to school and teaching them the basics brilliantly so they're set up with and improving our academic achievement. We've slipped tremendously against other countries. We've got half our kids showing up at high school not where they need to be on reading, 80% of our kids showing up at high school not where they need to be on mathematics, and we've got to teach the basics brilliantly and get our kids set up, and that's the number one focus of our education system, and I make no apologies about it, but we are going to be ruthlessly obsessed and focused on get the kids to school and teach them the basics brilliantly. Very important, and we're not denying that. As you've seen, we've produced more materials in Te Reo. We're very comfortable to make sure that there's strong attachment to people's culture, but I just say to you also, we've seen very clearly a focus on structured literacy, structured mathematics, for example, structured literacy. Look at the results for Māori, Pacifica, or Kiwi kids. That approach is working. But let's be really clear: our education system has been failing. Our kids are not set up as well as the kids in Singapore, Canada, Ireland, New South Wales. I am not going to have New Zealand kids fall behind. I want them to access higher paying jobs in the next 20 years. And the way to do that is we have to have a serious conversation with ourselves about step changing the quality of academic achievement. And that's what we're focused on. What we've said is we've got a separate piece of work that Paul Goldsmith's looking at. But you also heard the Minister say at the time that that was something that she'd go away and think about, Section 127. But it makes complete sense. It's not reasonable to have boards focused on the treaty obligations. That's a responsibility for the Crown.
I think it's a step backwards. We know that Māori kids are not doing as well in school as non-Māori kids. The changes that they are reversing had their origins in reforms that Hikia Parata undertook as Minister of Education under the last key English government. And also I think it's a step backwards to see those being reversed. Well, Christopher Luxon hasn't spent much time engaging in the research of what actually makes a difference in kids' education. There's a whole lot of research in New Zealand about what can turn around educational achievement for Kiwi kids. And this government have chosen to reject most of that and instead focus on bumper sticker slogans. Well, the treaty clause itself is a bit of a red herring of a debate. I think we need to, rather than the government focusing all their energy on this at the moment, they should be focusing their energy on making sure that we're providing schools with the resources that they need to lift kids' achievement. One of the ways they could do that is make sure that they've got teachers in the classroom, which is something they seem to be struggling with at the moment. I think there's two things here. One is I'm astounded that Erica Stanford doesn't seem to be aware that schools are Crown entities. The second is that there is a lot of conflicting advice from the government at the moment in the curriculum area. Erica Stanford is making a heck of a mess of that. Schools are onto their third maths curriculum in a year. It's no wonder that they're getting really fed up with that.
You've said that this is an odd priority. Why do you think that the government is focusing on this?
They'd far rather have culture wars than focus on the mess they're making of the economy. School boards receive extensive guidance on their role as governors of schools. They're making decisions on behalf of the Crown on a daily basis, including spending very large amounts of money that's supplied through the Crown. So they have big governance responsibilities. It is one of the things you put your hand up for when you agree to join a school board of trustees. And we thank parents for doing that. It's an incredibly valuable contribution to our education system.